Good morning, friends. Danielle here from the Watershed Nature Center. Happy Friday! Here are your weekend challenges and activities. Frogs were our topic this week. If you weren't able to make it to Wednesday's Facebook Live video, you could check it out on our Facebook page. This first activity is one you can complete right in your own kitchen. All you need is 2 eggs, both hard-boiled, 2 cups, water, and food dye. Any color food dye will work. But first, I want to talk a little bit about reptiles and amphibians since frogs were our topic this week. Frogs are amphibians. Amphibians are small vertebrates that need water or a moist environment to survive. The species in this group include frogs, toads, salamanders, and newts. We're going to focus on frogs since that was this week's topics. Now, reptiles are air-breathing vertebrates covered in special skin made up of scales, bony plates, or a combination of both. They include crocodiles, snakes, lizards, turtles, and tortoises. Amphibians and reptiles might seem similar, low to the ground, often in water, and not warm and fuzzy, but there's one major difference that I will tell you right away, and that's their skin. Reptiles have scales and their skin is dry. Amphibians don't, and their skin is often moist with mucus, which keeps them from drying up. While many amphibians, including frogs, have smooth skin, most toads have bumpy bodies covered with raised glands, some which produce toxic secretions. But no amphibians have scales. Amphibians can also breathe through their moist, porous skin. They get all their oxygen through their skin. Because amphibians can breathe through their skin, they are extremely susceptible to toxins in the environment, especially water. The presence or absence of amphibians in a pond or stream is an excellent indicator of its water quality. Now back to the activity. This activity is going to show us firsthand just how susceptible frogs are to toxins. Once you have your 2 hard-boiled eggs, you will carefully peel one of them. Fill both of your cups with water, enough to cover the eggs. Next, you're going to mix roughly 20 drops of food dye into each of your water cups and mix it. Then, place 1 egg in each of the cups. You'll need to let your eggs sit for about 12 hours and then come check on them. You can also check on them throughout the day too. After 12 hours is up, it's time to take the eggs out of the cups. You can already see which egg has absorbed the color more, the egg without the shell. But we want to dive even deeper. You will want to next carefully peel the shell off the other egg. Observe what you see. How much dye was absorbed through the shell? Which egg right now appears to have absorbed more dye? Or, in this case, we're pretending that it's toxins. Next, we are going to cut each of the eggs to see how much of the toxins has seeped through. Now, one of these eggs represents the skin of a frog. Can you figure out which one? If you guessed the egg without the shell in the beginning, you're absolutely correct. The peeled egg represents the skin of our friend the frog. This shows how easily frogs can be harmed by pollutants in water. Pretend that our colored dye was pollution located in the habitat that the frog lives. Do we think that this pollution could harm our frog? The answer is yes. The peeled egg, with only a thin membrane surrounding it, absorbed more pollutant or our dye. The food coloring will travel further into this egg. That's why it's important that we protect our wetlands habitats. Next, we are going to make some origami. You guessed it, frog origami. All you will need for this will be a piece of plain white paper. I'm going to use white, that way I can color it to look like the different types of frogs that reside here in Illinois. You will need to cut the paper into about a 6 by 6 inch square. Once you have your paper cut, you will fold it in half one way, open it up, and then fold it in half the other way. Then you're going to open it up again, and you're going to bring each of the four corners into the middle of the paper. Make sure you press hard down on those creases each time. Alright, next you're going to turn your square so it's like a diamond. You'll fold the right and left side into the middle so it almost looks like a kite. Again, make sure you're pushing down on these creases pretty hard because that's going to make your frog turn out better in the end. After that, you're going to fold the bottom up Next, you're going to take the right and the left bottom corners and put them towards the middle again. You'll have a line there in the middle, so it'll be easy to tell where it is. After that, you're going to fold the bottom up about halfway. Then you're going to fold it back a little bit, and remember this is going to be pretty hard at this point, so you have to push down very hard. And then fold the top back just a little bit so your nose is kind of flat like that, and that's it. The only thing left to do is to color your frog. You can make it look like a spring peeper. You can make it look like a southern leopard frog, a wood frog, a cricket frog, a gray tree frog, or a bullfrog. Finally, here's our last challenge. This challenge will bring you directly outdoors to help improve habitats for frogs, other amphibians, insects, birds, and other animals alike. An invasive species is an organism that is not indigenous or native to a particular area. Invasive species can cause great economic and environmental harm to the new area they invade. Invasive species are not just plants, they could be animals and insects too. Illinois has several invasive species, but I want to focus on 3 of them today, which are all plants: winter creeper, bush honeysuckle, and Japanese hops. Each one of these plants is not native to Illinois. These plants grow uncontrollably and take resources that other living things need to survive. It is important to control the spread of these invasives. We at the Watershed have monthly restoration days. Some days we focus on removing invasives such as winter creeper. This is something you could do right at your own home if you have a yard that may contain some invasive species. When identifying the invasive species, please remember to use caution. Try using apps like Seek and iNaturalist to properly identify the species. If you locate any winter creeper, bush honeysuckle, or Japanese hops in your area, be careful to remove it. But here are some tips on how. Here's how you can remove winter creeper. Start at the edge of the winter creeper mat and pull the vines gently and slowly so the roots are pulled up with the vine. You can roll up the vines as you work, ending with a large ball of vines that should be chipped or composted. For bush honeysuckle, You can use three of the methods: hand pulling small plants, or you could cut the stumps of the stems of bigger plants, or you can even dig out the roots. For Japanese hops, the plants may be pulled in late spring or early summer before they flower and set seed, typically prior to August. Be sure to wear gloves as protection from the hooked hairs that may cause blistering of the skin. When pulling, try to remove as much of the roots as possible, as the plant may resprout. Bag and discard all plant material. Repeated cutting or mowing close to the ground may also be used. However, its effectiveness is limited as vines quickly regrow from cut stems. Please visit our website for more information on invasive species and their proper removal. Thanks for tuning in to this week's challenges and activities. Please be sure to share with us on social media your experiences you had this week in outdoors. Remember, nature's not canceled. We'll see you next week.